Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Halifax Raiders Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we had another offseason, and the team is starting to come together quite well, I'd say. On paper, this should be our best roster yet. We should be able to win more games than we've ever have. Then again, last year we kind of had an insane season, so maybe we have a little bit of fall off, maybe we get better. But you can see our team starting to come together. Obviously, we still have the top line together of Lehman, Hayden, and Wilm. But we did add Reese Rovere with the first overall pick, who is going to be playing alongside Vitaly Sherov and Aiden Stajan, which is a pretty solid second line. Hopefully, Rovere can get a lot of growth in his first year, and hopefully the Sheriff and Stajan can do what they were doing last season, which was 50-something points. And then on the third line, we got Lassick, who's still got that medium elite potential, so I'm hoping that he can get some good growth this year as well, because maybe he's going to be a great third line player for this team, or maybe he'll be a second liner, or maybe he could even get into the top line based on that potential. We also do have Rudolph Petterman, who still has his top 6 potential, but is kind of slowly developing, so I hope that he could get a little bit of growth this season. And then we also have Ponikarovsky, who's up to his 76. So Ponikarovsky might end up just capping out as more of like a fourth line type of low elite, but he has still been a pretty solid offensive player, so if he's given more ice time, he should be able to produce. And then fourth line wise, we got Smirov, who has no potential, same with Markov, so these guys don't matter too much. But we do also have a young Joel Weber, who's going to be making it to the NHL. This guy was a 7th round pick, but he's already up to a 72 at 19. So I'm hoping that he could also get some good growth this year, because maybe he's a future guy for our top 6. And then our defensive core is starting to come together quite a bit as well. We do still have Palin in the lineup, which I wasn't expecting, because last year I thought that would have been his last season. But he is going to hang around for at least one more year while we get another defenseman in. And goalie-wise, we got Nick Heaton and currently Dave Cameron, but we might be sending Dave Cameron down depending on what you guys said in the comments. Speaking of which, let's get to those comments. So let's see what you guys had to say about last episode. So the first couple are from Nick Bacher Barons OC, who says, Friesen is weird coming out of the draft at his potential. LMAO, hopefully he can get a boost to high backup. So Friesen, yeah, was definitely a very weird pick. I don't think I've ever drafted an AHL starter in a draft before, and especially at that overall as well, because Friesen, yeah, being a 73 at 19 is fantastic, but he's got no potential. If that high AHL starter could get to a backup, though, then it'll be useful. Right now, it might be useful in the NHL, it might be useful in the AHL, but I don't know if this guy's going to have much of a window of being a great player for us, because obviously we got Sonnenberg, who's up to a 69 at 20. Norinen should be able to get some good development after this season and maybe be in the AHL next year. And then we got like Gove still. Frederick Goalie is likely not going to be coming back, I would say, at the end of this season, just because Friesen's probably going to be taking his spot. But we do have a lot of goalie prospects, and yeah, I don't know how long, like I said, this high AHL starter will be in our lineup, but I am excited to see what he could pan out to be like, because, like I said, never have had this potential before, and I've never seen a guy being that high of an overall at that type of age as well, so should be exciting nonetheless. Nick also says, just play Friesen in the NHL. You need also another sniper. And I totally agree about having another sniper, because I think right now we're heavily relying goal scoring wise on our top line. So it would be great to get ourselves a sniper for that second line, or a power forward even for that matter. Like Classic might be that type of guy since he is a power forward. He doesn't have the best offensive attributes though, so maybe not. But hopefully we can get somebody that could help out with the scoring on other lines, not just the top line. And he was saying to play Friesen at the NHL level. I'm not really sure what I want to do with him yet, because there is still a couple other comments that were saying to maybe play him in the AHL. So I kind of see the argument for both. We might play him in the AHL with Sonnenberg, and then Frederick Goalie ends up getting scratched in the AHL this season, and then we might still just run Dave Cameron with Nick Heaton like last year, because that was an okay combination. Next comment is from Yo-Yo What's Up, who says, great pickup on the coach. Team might be able to go above 500 this season, and I think they can. Overall record prediction of 40, 37, and 5. That would be great if we could get at least close to 500. If we're not above 500, it's not the end of the world, obviously, but if we are above 500, that would be a great stepping stone to build upon for the future seasons. The next comment is from FreshBread97, who says, interesting draft for sure. I'd sign Friesen and see where he fits. Leave all other picks unsigned. As for scouting, I think you'd benefit from doing your own scouting instead of relying on only auto scout. This way you'd This way you'd have prospects fully scouted. As for coaches, hire a goalie coach for the AHL with A+ teaching, no matter the overall. Need to develop those young elite goaltenders. And yeah, I agree about the goalie coach. That's something we're going to be doing to start this episode. And the manual scouting, I don't do that. The reason being is because if I did manual scouting, this episode would probably be like an hour plus long based on how long it takes me already to record a season. So there's no chance I'm going to eventually go to just manually scouting. I would rather go with auto scouting. Just because we might not be able to find all those like hidden gems and whatnot. I like auto scouting a lot more, to be honest, because at least then I get a general idea of how good of a player it could actually be. Next comment is from Michael Dose, who says, I'd start Friesen as the AHL starter for 1 year and then pull up to Halifax. Him playing backup at Halifax may hinder his growth as he plays maybe 20 to 25 games versus 65 plus games in the AHL. So yeah, I think I'm leaning towards maybe playing him in the AHL for 1 year, just to see if he actually does really well at the AHL level, maybe get some statistical boost because the AHL team is going to be much better than our team, I think. And then obviously he would be replacing Cameron next season, which wouldn't be a bad option for like a stopgap until we get the elite guy ready. And the last and final comment is from Ian.NoLove, who says, my suggestion for a season, give Mad Boys a contract extension. I think he's going to be huge for that defensive core in the future. Sign an A+ teaching goalie coach for both NHL and AHL, no matter their overall. Can do it off camera, but it will definitely boost goalie attributes. Put Friesen #1 in the AHL and see his stats for a year. If he's good, promotion to be NHL backup. Find 5-star shooting sniper this offseason to develop depth scoring core. And then hire new A+ scouts after the season by firing expiring B1s, because they're anyways rise to A+ in regions. You sent them down to scout more later round steals. Lots of love and support from Russia. Looking for a bright future, and thank you for that, Ian. So yeah, the first thing, obviously, like you were mentioning, we were going to do is going to be giving Boys an extension. That's going to be very important because obviously with Boys, he is probably the future of this blue line. Kolesnik's already an 89, which is awesome, but we do need to start locking up more players on this defensive core. Like Dimitri was already locked up, so Boys is the next piece in the puzzle to do for that. So yeah, definitely we are going to be signing Boys to a major extension here, and we're going to give him an 8-year deal. I am going to try the 85% trick, which means I need to open up the calculator on my computer if it actually wants to open. Let's see. Yes, it does open. Let's see. So he only wants $6 million for 8 years. So we got to do the 85% trick and see if we can get him for a little bit less than that. So we might be able to get him for like $5.1 million for 8 years, which would be an absolute steal because that's actually less than Kolesnik makes at the moment. So 5.1 by 8, we'll see if he accepts that. And that's our first major part of business to do for this team to start the season. Then the next thing we are going to be doing, obviously, is signing Friesen to his ELC. And like I said, he'll play in the AHL. Likely, Frederick goalie will be getting scratched just because Sonnenberg needs to play playing for sure. So there is another thing that is going to be done. And then our final thing that we're going to be doing before we start up the season sim is getting some goalie coaches. I think we already have a goalie coach in the NHL, don't we? Maybe not. You guys said overall doesn't matter. It's just more on if their teaching grades are good. Which, yeah, we do have an NHL goalie coach at the moment. How's his teaching grade? Not fantastic. Maybe I will fire this guy and get a new goalie coach. Let's do it. Let's get 2 new goalie coaches for the team. And hope that that could change the complexion of our goaltending for the future at least. So teaching-wise, we don't want somebody that's actually an A+ overall-wise just because they're going to cost too much. This guy right here is a perfect one, and this guy right here is a perfect one. So we'll offer both of them contracts as an AHL goalie coach. So Aldrich to cash, you'll take $260K. That says the AHL goalie coach, and then we need one as the NHL goalie coach. You're going to be the NHL goalie coach there. Isaiah Outlaw, what a name. Both you guys can get $260K. And that's all we need. So hopefully those guys accept, and then we'll have some guys with good teaching grades for our goaltenders, and hopefully they can get good growth because of that. Let's advance a few days, see if we get those coaches in. We get Sakash, which is good, and Outlaw has also accepted. Perfect. Let's go quickly to edit lines here as well, and quickly put Friesen in as the AHL starter hopefully the AHL could have a good season this year, because if these guys could get growth, that would be fantastic for us. That does mean Sonnenberg will not be the starter this year, but hopefully that doesn't that helps him grow a little bit better too, because once he's like a 74, he'll be much better as an AHL starter. But hopefully Grant Friesen could get some growth in the AHL. So there you go. There is our AHL team, and our NHL team. We also got to see if Mad Boys will accept his contract, which he probably will. Let's see. Come on, Mad Boys. Yes, he has. Wow, that's a great contract. We're just getting so lucky with these contract extensions, but I'm kind of doing what I did, I think, in Anchorage, which is locking guys up long-term as early as possible. Because now you could look at like our defensive core here. Kolesnik is still signed long-term for a while. You have Sea-Doo obviously coming off his ELC in a few years. And Mayer's not making much for a few years. Mad Boy is only making $5.1 million for the next 8 seasons. That's a huge add for our team, especially if he could start producing on an elite level, which hopefully he could start that this season. It's all down to goaltending, though. I think goaltending is going to be a little bit problematic still this season, so it might hold us back a bit from doing better than last year, but at least it should improve our team's scoring, I think, wise a little bit. Like, we should have a good year. We should. At least 30 wins this year would be great, because obviously the last 2 years we've hit 30 wins, so I would like to hit 30 wins again this year. If we're in the 25 win range, it's not terrible still, but obviously we wanted to start getting to that point where we're not drafting in the top 5 all the time, because obviously the more elite players we add, the more cost it's going to be for our teams. So let's get through the preseason and see how the team does. And then we'll start simulating this 2029-30 season, which is kind of crazy that we're already in this stage. Like, we've been flying through these early years, which is kind of good, because maybe once the series ends, if it ends really quickly, then I could get into a throwback franchise mode with my 99-2000 rosters once that's complete. Still a lot of work to do. Hey, that's a great preseason. Damn, 6-0-2. That might be our best preseason in franchise history at this point, which is nice to see. Alan Lehman, 14 points in 8 games, 9 goals. Hopefully he could do that in the regular season, because he has been a little bit inconsistent, and he is our highest paid player on the team. So I'm hoping for a big year from Alan Lehman. Okay. I think we are set up and ready to go. Let's just make sure everything is set up properly in terms of our lineup. I want to double check the special teams again, which I think I already had set up properly, right? Yeah, it's the same as last year. Let's put Sherov at center, and actually I do need to set up the strategies, because you guys were mentioning about this. Actually, let's put Ahonen back to center. You guys were mentioning about setting up the distributor and all this stuff. I didn't do that yet, so let's set that up. So Ahonen as distributor is good. Wilm is the finisher. Puck carrier, I would probably lean towards Maddox Boys, because he's a defenseman. So these 3 guys. And then power play line 2, the setup guy here, Del Rovera can be the finisher. We'll put Ponikarovsky as the puck carrier, because he's a forward. And the setup guy, I will probably go for Lasik, because Lasik has pretty good passing. I mean, I could go with Stajan, actually, for that matter. Yeah, Stajan would be good for that, because he's got that low lead potential. Yeah, let's set this up as proper as we can. Wilm, and we'll go with Boys on this one again. Even though I could do Lehman, I would rather Boys, just because he's an actual defender. And then for this one, I guess Stajan would be the finisher. That kind of makes sense. And then the puck carrier, we'll go with Sherov instead of Boys on that one. Oh, Boys is on both 4-man units. That shouldn't be the case. I didn't even realize that. So we'll throw in... Let's give Mayer an opportunity on the 2nd unit. Why not? Why not? And then he will end up... Actually, no, he won't be the puck carrier. But I think Mayer deserves to be there as well, since he's an offensive defenseman. And then that should be good. I don't really care about the formations of all this stuff. Face-off formation. Yeah, I don't really care about that stuff as much. Eventually I'll get maybe a little bit more in depth with that type of thing, but not right now. Okay, that is good and set up and ready to go. Let's see if those power play adjustments actually do anything or not. And yeah, let's see how this team does this year. I'm going to go on a limb and say 35 wins this year. I'm not going to say 40 wins yet, because I don't think our goaltending's there. But I'm going to just go and guess 35 wins. So let's go to January the 1st, take the season a little bit slower than normal. As we start the season with a 6-0 win and a 5-4 win, so that's a great start to the year. Holy crap, what the hell's happening? 4 wins to start the year. And then we lose, of course, back-to-back games, 3 straight games, 4 straight games now. And then we get another win. Hey, we're off to a really good start. Maybe we actually will hit 40 wins. Or maybe we're just going to fall off randomly off a cliff. But that was a great start to the year, at least. So that way we have a little bit of a glimpse of what this team's going to be like when they're actually elite. Right now, they definitely still have problems. We're now below 500. But yeah, that was a really good way to start the year. Much better than years past, for sure. Hey, there's back-to-back wins. Let's go. I don't know if I really want to be a playoff team yet, because obviously our depth isn't still there yet, but I would like to be at least close to a 500 team, and so far we're off to that type of start, which is good. Definitely losing a lot more games since the beginning of the year, but that is okay for sure. So 12, 19, and 6 at January the 1st. We currently have 30 points. We're only 2 points back of the Sabres in our division, and then we're above the Sharks still, and we're above the Penguins. So we're not the worst team in the league, but we're one of the worst teams still in the league, which is okay with me. Let's go to the end of January, see if we could get some more wins under our belt. Because obviously, well, the wins aren't really that important, I would say. It's more about if the guys on our team get growth, if our players get some good stat lines. But obviously the wins are what kind of coincides with that. So hopefully we get good growth in the system as well from our AHL prospects. That's all I could really ask for this year. 17, 26, and 6. We're at 40 points. We're above the Sharks still and just above the Penguins. So, yeah, we're still one of the worst teams in the league, but we definitely could hit 30-plus wins again for another season, which is really, really solid. So, we're definitely still on the path to being a good team here in the next few years, I think. Just got to find a couple more pieces to the puzzle, and then hopefully that helps us succeed. And then hopefully our goaltending can improve, because our goaltending definitely is still the question mark as we wait for Sonnenberg to arrive, pretty much. There's a good little winning streak again. 5 straight wins, 6 straight wins, and then we lose to Anaheim 24, 32, and 7 a day before the deadline. Wow. Okay, now we're above the Preds, we're above the Sharks, and we're above the Penguins. We're in a good spot. We're in a good spot, maybe to win the lottery too, who knows. But 24 wins already, and we still have all of March to go, and we have April too. That's pretty good. Let's go to a day after the deadline. But, yeah, I'm liking the way this team is simulating this year so far. I'm hoping that the stat lines are also there to improve that. And hopefully the goaltending numbers are pretty good at some rate as well. Like, I know they're not going to be fantastic, but hopefully some goalies have good save percentages or whatnot. Okay, let's go to the end of March. I don't really want to know what my player stats are like right now, so might as well wait till we actually get the full season done with. There's another win over Chicago. Damn, man. Let's see. Can we hit 30 wins for another season? It should be able to. We're at 28 already. Can we get those next 2 wins? There's one over Seattle. And no, shootout loss there. Come on, boys. Hey, there's one over the Canucks. We're over 30 wins again. And now we're on a little winning streak again. And 34, 37, and 8. We will not hit 40 wins this year, but we are very close to it. The most we get finished with is 37 wins. If we get these 3 wins and don't lose a game, we finish 37, 37, and 8, which would be pretty solid. We're at 76 points. We're still above the Preds, still above the Sharks. We're above the Flames and Kraken now as well. So we definitely won't have as high of a pick as we did in prior years, but we're in a pretty good spot. Let's get these last 3 games done and see if we can finish with 37 wins. There's a shutout win over Tampa, a loss, and a win over Anaheim, who was in the playoffs, so that's impressive. 36, 38, and 8. That's a great record. That's a great record. Almost 500 pretty much on the dot. Definitely more if you more losses if you include OT losses, but 36, 38, and 8 does not look that bad on paper. That's a pretty good season, I'd say, for this team. Let me just make sure all the AI is done. Yep, it is. And holy crap, I didn't look at yet at Mauricio Wilm's stats. Mauricio Wilm has hit 100 points for the 4th consecutive season, I think, and he has another 50-goal season in his bag. That's 4 straight, I think, as well. So, yeah, Wilm is definitely him, as we have learned in these last few years. Once we actually get to being a good playoff team and whatnot, this guy is going to be an animal. Like, I'm excited to see what he could do in the playoffs for sure when we get to that point. Definitely got to lock him up long term when this contract ends. In terms of the entire league, where did we finish the season? We finished, wow, 26th. That's a lot better than I expected. We don't have great odds to getting into a great spot draft lottery-wise, but we do have ourselves at least another solid pick to add to our roster. Hopefully we could get an elite steal kind of around that spot. Goals for per game-wise, we were one of the best offensive teams. Wow, we were one of the best offensive teams and we missed the playoffs. So it's goals against per game that's still weighing us back a little bit. Yeah, we were the third worst defensive team in the league, but we are improving in that regard, which is great. Power play percentage-wise, we were one of the top teams on the power play, so that's probably what made our offense so good. And then penalty kill percentage-wise, still needs work. So definitely we need to improve defensively and goaltending-wise, but our offensive numbers are really good. 15, 21, and 5 on home ice. 21, 17, and 3 on the road, which is above 500, so that's impressive. 7, 2, and 1 in our last 10 games to end the season. We definitely cheesed ourselves out of a good pick, but that is okay with me because as long as we got good production from our top guys and good growth, it is a great season for this team. So let's take a look at player stats. Holy crap. Okay, well, Mauricio Wilm hits 113 points. We already knew about that. Plus 16 this year. Wilm is a machine. He honestly is going to end up being better than Asher Vance, I think, from my Chicago series last year at this rate. Like the 4 straight 50-goal seasons is awesome, and once he gets to the playoffs, who knows what's in store. A lot of game-winning goals for him as well in his career at this point. Love to see it. This guy's a beast. How much more years? 4 more seasons, and then we got to give him probably $14, $15 million. I don't even know. And Liam Ahinen, since he's playing with Wilm, 103 points in his 4th season? Yeah, his 4th season. This guy's a beast too. We have definitely got a very good first line. Eventually when all these guys start to expire though, that's when we're going to be spending so much money that we might end up losing somebody from this top line at some point, which would not be fun. But yeah, Liam Ahinen might eventually get up there as well for Selke candidate because he does have good face-off stats, good takeaway stats. But I don't know if those takeaway numbers are as good. But still, what a great player. Staging 74 points at 23. Oh my goodness, he's an 88. This guy's developed into being a great stud. He also has X factors now, which I don't know if I pointed out last episode. I don't remember. But Aiden Stajan is developing really well. Like, he's definitely helping out with the offensive front of things. His defense still is not great, but he has been not playing on a top line. Probably a lot of statistical growth, but yeah, he has been really good. That contract is phenomenal. He's only signed for 5 more years, which is kind of scary as well because he's going to be demanding a good chunk of money. Sharov had 71 points, very quietly, I should say, because of the fact these guys all did really well as well. But Sharov with 71 points, 83 overall. Sharov is definitely the GOAT on terms of being like a random steal in the draft. Wow, his passing's up to a 99. That might be statistical based, but still, he has been really good. Yuri Markov, 22 points. That means Del Rovere probably had a really good rookie season, but probably his plus-minus isn't good, which means likely not a Calder winner. But let's take a look at these stats here. Lehman hit 83 points, kind of quiet considering his line mates hit over 100 points. But 41 goals, I'll definitely take that. He's been pretty good as well. So there is Lehman still signed for 6 more seasons. And then he's going to want a lot of money. Vlasic at 47 points, 22 goals, not bad. He's up to an 80 overall. Let's go. Our depth is starting to come through. I like it. I like it a lot. His ELC ends next year, so that's kind of scary. He's going to want a good chunk of money if he continues to develop like that. Petterman, 24 points, still a 76. Not great, but I mean, he was only a -4 this year, so I don't know how good Petterman's going to end up being for his team, but still, I'll take it. Joel Weber, 23 points, up to a 74, so that's pretty solid. We are starting to get growth from him as well. Not a bad rookie campaign at all. Right wing wise, there's Del Rovere's stats. Only 42 points compared to his line mates, but still a very solid rookie season for him. 23 goals, 19 assists. He's up to an 86 after 1 season. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're definitely going to be spending a lot of money soon with this guy and all the other players that might be up in a few years. Bonikarovsky also had 41 points, so our team in general, like the top 6, really fantastic. Or all the guys on the power play lines, I should say, did fantastic. And Smirnov had 27 points, which is not really that bad for his overall. I'll take that. Defensively, Maddox Boys, 34 points. Not bad. Not bad at all. He's still only an 83, so he is kind of slowly developing. But at least he's locked up long term. So if he is going to break out like next season, we already have him locked up on a good deal, which is great. Kolesnik, 22 points. Not bad. Mayer, 22 points. Not bad as well. JC 17 points and Palin 17 points. I'll take that. And Dimitra 13 points and a +8. Let's go. I didn't even realize Mayer was a +14. That's fantastic. Yeah, good stats from our entire team, I'd say. I'm not really displeased with anybody. Goalie-wise, Nikitin had 2 shutouts this year at 26, 32, and 5 record, an 8.88 and a 3.69. Dave Cameron, again, was okay as a backup. He might not be a high overall, high potential guy, but still, he picked up over 900 save percentage this year and the 1 shutout. So, Dave Cameron was pretty good. 70 overall. Still Nikitin, still 77. Hopefully, he can get to the 80s to start next year. But I will definitely take that. Let's take a look at the stats around the league. Where did Mauricio Wilm finish in points? He finished top 10. That's pretty good. Draisaitl finished at number 1 with 119 points. Him, Svechnikov, and Eichel. Best goal scorer this season was Matthews. Damn it. So Austin Matthews beating out Mauricio Wilm this year, but Mauricio Wilm tied for second in goals with none other than Terry Nichols, who went a few years ago first overall, I think, right? Yeah. Interesting. What about Selke candidates? Not that it really matters at this stage, but let's see. You're looking at probably Marco Rossi, Xavier Bourgault, pretty good too, but not him likely. Bedrix Svoboda, who we could have drafted, 55% on the draw, 135 takeaways. Yeah, it's probably Svoboda. Probably Svoboda. Let's take a look at most fights for fun too. Braden Toms, 29 fights. The only guy to be in the 20 fight range. I don't even remember this guy from the draft, so must have been in a place where we weren't drafting. Okay. Wow, 46 points as well. That's pretty impressive. What about defensemen? Cale Makar, 104 points. Holy crap, man. Cale Makar is on the next level compared to the rest of these defenders. Jeez. Okay. Best goaltender this season in terms of wins. Kochetkov hit 50 wins this year. Jeez, Carolina's insane. Most shutouts, Ville Husso in Toronto. Save percentage-wise, Aiden Hill in Detroit. Okay. Best goals against average by a starter, Aiden Hill. So Aiden Hill might win the Vezina this year, which is kind of weird. Any goalie goals? No goalie goals. How much goalie assists? 4 for Kochetkov. Okay. And best rookie this season in points was Poitras. I think it's Poitras, right? I saw how it was pronounced the other day, but I don't remember. He's in New Jersey now, 52 points. Then you also have Nordquist at 48. Pritchett, who we could have drafted with 45. Both these guys are in LA, which is interesting. So LA is building up a good team. A lot of Kynan up there. Del Rivera, though, finished number 5 in rookie points. Obviously, his plus-minus is much worse than everybody else's. But he still had, I'd say, yeah, 3rd best in rookie goals, which is great. So there is that. Let's quickly take a look at our AHL team as well, because I did not see how our AHL guys did. Let's see. Wadden had 63 points and 30 goals. We will take a look at the progress report, so I'm not going to look at their growth just yet. But looks like we got some good stat lines from guys in the AHL this year, which is nice. Hopefully someone got very good growth as well, because that'll make our team even better for next year. And goalie-wise, Grant Friesen in his rookie year in the AHL, pretty solid numbers. Not the most insane numbers. Sonnenberg was actually better than 2, but still pretty good in terms of win-loss. Friesen went up to a 74. I'll take that. He might be in the NHL next year. And then Sonnenberg is up to a 71. So Sonnenberg might be another few years out from being an NHL goalie, but he is developing quite well now, which is really good. So there is our player stats for the NHL and AHL. Now we got to find out who ends up winning the Stanley Cup in 2030. Also where we're going to be drafting, what the draft class looks like, what our contract situation's looking like, and also the progress reports, of course. Let's see who ends up winning the Stanley Cup this year. We've seen a lot of the same teams get to the finals and win Stanley Cups in this series, I think, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was somebody that we've already seen in the finals before. Who is going to be the Cup champs? The Carolina Hurricanes. That's a team that I think went to the finals last season, so that makes sense, especially with Kochetkov hitting 50 wins this year. Makes a lot of sense that they would win the Stanley Cup. So we will take a look at those individual awards now. And we'll also take a look at these cup-winning teams. So Carolina beat Vancouver in the Cup Finals in a 4-game sweep. A lot of Canadian teams in the playoffs too, which is really interesting. So there is that. Well, let's take a look at the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll also take a look at the Vancouver Canucks. But I'm pretty sure Carolina was in the Cup Finals last year, so we might already know their roster. They brought back Vincent Trocheck apparently and Thomas Bordeleau. Philip Forsberg was brought in, Max Comtois, Jordan Greenway, Seth Jarvis, Andrei Svechnikov. They brought in Sokolov and Joseph. I did see that last year, I'm pretty certain. Defensively, Slavin, John Klingberg was brought in, Matthias Samuelsson as well, Olli Mata, Logan Stanley. And goalie-wise, Kochetkov was a beast. Coming off a 50-win season, he picked up 16 more in the playoffs with really good numbers. Insane. So there's the Cup-winning Carolina team. Let's take a look at the Vancouver Canucks who got to the finals. See what we got here. Whoever this Macaulay guy is, I don't think he's a real guy. No, he is a real guy. Was drafted in 2023, it says. Actually, no, he wasn't. Oh, I know why, because that was the year of the expansion draft, so he's just a generated guy that was taken 12th overall in 2023. But, yeah. Pretty solid-looking Canucks team. They're getting good growth from, I guess, guys like Lakir Mackey. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. Lassie Thompson's there now. Nick Perbix. Interesting-looking Canucks squad. Not the best goaltending numbers to get to a final, though. So there is Vancouver. We will take a look at the award winners now. Let's see what we got. So Carolina wins the Stanley Cup. They won the President's Trophy as well, so apparently it's not a curse anymore. And Vancouver Carolina Cup Finals. Yes, they did make it to the finals last year. Individual award-wise, Art Ross goes to Leo. Andrei Svechnikov, the Hart. Cale Makar wins to James Norris, not a surprise. Hughes, the Lady Bing. Nordquist wins the Calder for LA. So that's a guy we could have drafted, but we didn't end up drafting. Martin H's the Conn Smythe. Aiden Hill, the Vezina. Kochetkov, the Jennings, not a surprise on that front. Peak, the Masterton. A guy with the name Wilm, the head coach of the Detroit Red Wings, wins the Jack Adams. So you could say maybe the father of our Wilm on our team. Nico Hischier wins the Selke. Andrei Svechnikov, the Lindsay. Matthews, the Richard. AHL-wise, did we get any award winners out of curiosity? No, we did not. That kind of sucks, but oh well. So there is the award winners. Now we got to find out where we're drafting this year and what is also in this draft class because we don't know yet. So who's going to win the draft lottery? Oh, you're kidding me. What is with this game, man? I literally had the best odds multiple years in a row. I don't win. We had terrible odds to win this year. We go from 8-1 and we have back-to-back first overall picks in consecutive seasons. What in tarnation is this? Okay, from now on, when we have like drafting the glories, we don't want to be the best odds team, or else we're not going to win it. We want to have 5-8, and then we're going to win it all the time. I was not expecting to win it this year. Calgary goes from 6-2 as well. San Jose falls from 1-3. Wow. Wasn't expecting to go 8-1, but we are going to get ourselves another elite player, which is kind of not great because of the contract situation, but I'll take it. Will help us out for a few years at least. Stamkos is the best to retire with Chicago, which is a bit weird, but here's the retirement class briefly, in case you guys wanted to see this. Fleury in Ottawa, kind of a weird thing. Chris Drieger, okay. So there's the retirement class. Couturier is now a head coach. That's kind of interesting. Coach retirement-wise, did we lose anybody? We lost... Oh, man, we just lost our goalie coach that I literally just signed in Sakash. Okay, well, so we need another goalie coach for next season. So that kind of sucks. Didn't realize he was that old when we signed him, but oh well. Okay, draft interviews. We might as well do this just since we have the first overall pick this year. And, oh man, it's a defenseman. Or I could go for a left wing two-way forward to help our offense. This guy's unknown, so I might have to interview him. Might have to. But Hagelin's a DFD, it's looking like. Yeah, he's kind of like a Marc-Edouard Vlasic. Not really that interesting of a player in Stefan Hagelin. But let's interview J.C. McCutcheon, because apparently he didn't get really scouted at all, which is kind of weird. But I do want to find out about these guys a little bit. Let's talk about your playstyle, your readiness, and maybe your strength as well. He's a DFD. I think both these top two guys are DFDs, which is not really something I really want. He's NHL ready. We should have already known that. I don't know why I just asked him that. Let's see what his greatest strength is. It's probably defensive play, my guess. Or hitting. Yeah, it's his defensive skill set. Okay, so we have probably two DFDs in the top two, which is not great. This is not a class I would have liked to have won the draft lottery in, but that does mean we could go off the board completely if we want to. Because I think both these guys are DFDs. Yeah, I think so. Which kind of sucks. So there's those guys. Or we could go off the board and take a left wing two-way forward in Peyton Redden. Which we technically already just have a winger two-way forward in Del Rovero we just drafted last year. So there's also some other players. We could just completely go off the board with our first pick. I know it seems weird, but I'm not going to obviously go for a high top 4 or high top 6. But you do got Charles Foligno, who's a two-way defenseman. You got Frederick Pirous-Bottle, who's a center playmaker. Interesting. That would be a great pick for the second line. It would be weird taking him much earlier, but I don't have any need for a DFDs, I don't think, at the moment. So I think Pirous-Bottle honestly could be our top pick, even though it is way off the board. Yeah, I think I might go with Pirous-Bottle. So there's that. Let's see, any good potential steals? Maybe Hutton. We'll pin him as well. He's probably guaranteed to be medium elite as a goaltender. Mauricio Booz might be a medium elite defensive defenseman here. We'll pin him as well. He might be a late round snag for our team. This guy might be interesting. I don't know if he's medium elite though. He's probably like top 6. Jalen Girard. Yeah, he's probably top 6. I wouldn't mind taking that guy second round. Doesn't really look like we have a lot of steals though in this draft. Any low elites? Maybe Festerling. He's not great though. He might be like a 7th rounder that we take a chance on. But yeah, this class doesn't really look the best, so we probably won't get anything super huge good in this draft in the later rounds. But this guy has no weakness apparently, 4 years old, and is potentially an offensive defenseman. That's kind of intriguing. So that's who I'm going to have pinned for this draft class. I'm not going to do any more interviews because honestly, I don't think I'm going to find out enough about these guys if I actually ask them some questions. Okay, so there is that. Final few things to wrap up this episode. Let's take a look at our contract situation and the progress reports. So, who is up for renewal this offseason? Ponikarovsky's the most expensive one. I hope that he doesn't keep demanding a lot of money because or else he might be gone from this team in the next few seasons. What is Petterman wanting? Not really a whole lot. So, Petterman probably ain't going to develop much more, but we could definitely hold on to him as like a kind of a bottom 6 option. And then Gallagher and all that should want two-way contracts. Yep, they do, so that's good. We might end up letting some of these guys go, though, like Palin, if we draft a defenseman better than him. Because he is only a 70 overall. Finley, Coca-Cola. And then, yeah, Frederick Goalie's probably gone because Norton has jumped to a 66. And he'll likely replace him at the AHL level. So, yeah, likely Frederick Goalie will be on his way out and not even get qualified, which is kind of unfortunate. But when you have like Sonnenberg, you have Cameron, and then you'd bring in Norton, and then obviously Friesen would be here as well, Nikitin. There's kind of a logjam of goalies, so even though he's a meme goalie, he likely will not come back, unfortunately. So there is the contract situation. Final thing, our progress reports. Did we get good growth from our guys this season? Let's go by each position. So starting off with our centers. Ahenen's getting a lot of growth, maybe statistical, some natural. That's good. I'll take it. Stajan's getting a lot of growth too, probably statistical. Yeah, mostly statistical. Sharov got some as well, statistically based. Dan Mason went up to a 74. That's not bad. He is already 21, so kind of taking his time to develop. But he might be in the NHL team as early as next year. Mauricio Wilm getting some statistical. Yep. Markov also probably getting statistical. A lot of statistical growth on the NHL, except for guys like Joel Weber, who's now a 75. That's great. Our team definitely should have some pretty solid depth next year. We should be able to hit 40 wins, my guess. And Lassik's up to an 81. Unless there's a third line checking forward. So if we can lock him up to 8 years after at the start of next season, I will do it because I think he's going to be a serviceable kind of guy for our team. I hope that he doesn't demand too much because of his potential, but you never know. Layman some statistical growth. Same with Petterman. Del Rovere got a lot of natural growth. He's actually an 84, not an 86. He got some statistical drop-off, statistical drop-off, but that's okay. Still, he's going to be very important for his team's top 6. Ponikarovsky, statistical growth, same as Smirnov. Defensively, Sea-Doo's getting a lot of growth. McLaren got a lot of growth as well as a low top 4. That's actually really nice. Maddox Boys got growth as well. These other guys mostly just staying where they are. And then goalie-wise, didn't get a lot of growth from Friesen this year, which is unfortunate with that potential. And Nikitin didn't get much either. In terms of in the system, Sonnenberg's up to a 73. So he's almost ready to take that backup job already, actually, from Friesen. But I don't know if we rush him yet or not. You guys could let me know on that front. And then, yeah, we still have Norinen, who's going to be AHL bound next year. And yeah, Dave Cameron's probably back in the AHL. Goalie's probably gone. We did get a lot of growth from Owen Gove as well, which is really great. Defensively, Mitchell Rizzi. When did we draft him again? Last year in the 5th round. I didn't even remember about that. He's up to a 69 overall at 20. That's huge. Huge for the future of our blue line for sure. Like, he could easily be in the NHL replacing Palin next year if we want. Felipe Flood growing a little bit slower, but he's also getting closer to NHL ready. Eric Wilson, probably not much of anything, but he's a 67 now. Yeah, I'm liking the growth on this AHL team roster so far. Mark Ord up to a 69 as well as a bottom 6 is great. That is great. That's serviceable. Darcy Wadden up to a 72 at 23. He's slowly developing. I don't know if he becomes much at the NHL level, but here's hoping that he could be at least a 4th liner at some stage. Louis Mathieu is also up to a 69, so he's probably AHL bound next year, which is great. And Pidden didn't get any growth. Gortz was getting some growth, which is good, but he's already a low bottom 6, so not really much of anything. No growth from guys like Rolson, which is unfortunate. But a lot of our top prospects, like Kozlov, even up to a 68 already, which is huge for the team in the future years for sure. So there is that, and I think that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Halifax Raiders Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, obviously, we will take it to another off season. We'll put our team together, and we'll see what our team's looking like for year number, I guess, year number 8, I think, at this point. But I think we should definitely be a team that's getting closer and closer to the playoffs. Like, I could see us making the playoffs in the next 1 to 3 seasons. So let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.